All right, I'm hanging out backstage with Matt Nathanson right now. We're backstage at the legendary Wolf Den here at Mohegan Sun Casino. Nick Giuliano, welcome to Q105.fm.
Right on.
So, Matt, this is the all-night noise, all-noise night tour?
All-night noise.
All-night noise
As
tour.
if you were having
Oh.
relations.
Well then, this
for the
is starting
entire
off
evening.
interesting.
Yeah.
So last night you were in New York. You're here today. You're also on tour with Kelly Clarkson,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of, I mean, you're giving your fans a lot of different ways to see you out right now. It's pretty cool for the new album.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to be out with Kelly, and she's pretty rad. And so it's great to be on that tour and to be clubbing new people over the head and like dragging them back to the cave, you know? Like that's
Yeah.
what I see it as. Like,
I heard another interview with you yesterday, and you were talking about kind of the difference between maybe the crowd that's going to be here tonight and one that was at Kelly Clarkson and you in Atlantic City.
yeah, Kelly's crowd is like just totally different, but they're all music fans, but they're totally different than my fans, and so it's great to be able to be exposed to them. It's like, and then she takes, she has a day on, a day off most of the time on tour. So we started doing headline shows in between, and we continued. The All Night Noise tour went all fall into like, we did New York, Boston, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting to play Portland, Maine, Burlington.
I saw the
Vermont.
list on mattnathanson.com. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Going all
it's
over the
bananas,
place.
yeah.
It's great, though.
Yeah, it's cool. It's going to be awesome.
Every woman in my life is excited that I'm doing this right now.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Every woman in my office is going to be out there tonight. My cousins are all coming down. So this is the man I need to be friends with.
Oh my God, dude, yeah.
Yes.
We're in.
We're in. We're
my
friends.
God.
It's good times.
I love it.
What's the strangest thing on your rider?
We have the severed hand of a Vietnamese delivery boy.
Really?
Yeah, like the left hand.
There's only one other artist that I've spoken
thing.
to with that, Barry Manilow.
Oh,
Strange.
oh man. And yeah, so he's down with the Vietnamese delivery boy as well.
I guess, yes.
It's just such a nice hand.
Is it?
Yeah, oh yeah. So we have a collection of them hanging up in the bus. So yeah, that's a weird one.
That's cool?
Mhm.
The rider has a hand on it.
Yeah, just one, and it's got to come on ice because we can't just have that thing rotten.
Please.
You know what I'm saying?
We all know that to be the case. So 2 singles right now, Faster and Run with Sugarland.
Yeah.
So the question is, when you started out, did you think that you would perform on the CMAs and The Bachelor in kind of the same
Dude,
year?
no.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It was crazy because I'd never seen The Bachelor, so I just knew that it was, I knew the premise. And so when they told us it was at City Hall, I'm from San Francisco, that's where I live. And so they said, shoot The Bachelor. I was like, sure, that sounds fun. And then they were like, City Hall in San Francisco. I was like, that sounds awesome.
It's amazing.
So like 3 in the morning we set up.
3 in the morning.
Yeah. And they came on their date and they made out. And I like to play music for people that are just macking on each other.
Why not?
It gives you a real good feeling.
What?
You're sort of like rocking out and you're like, you are touching each other.
So the whole crew's there, and it's just you playing and they're dancing in front of you?
Yeah.
For how long?
We did a take of it. It was pretty easy. It was sort of like all built up to this moment.
Got
you know?
it.
Like they're coming, they're coming, they're
Sure.
coming, they're coming, and then all of a sudden there they were.
I don't watch the show, but everybody...
Dude, everybody else does.
Everybody watches
You and
it.
I are the only 2 people on Earth that don't watch the show.
See, and you've been on it, so that's my next step, apparently.
Dude, it's that, and then the CMAs was another one where I'm a nerd for music, man. Music is my life, not just because I play it, but because it's the thing I love the most. And but I'm so out of the loop on pop country, and so to go to the Country Music Awards where most of the acts are kind of popular country.
Yeah, like
acts.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Sure.
And, I mean, I know Taylor Swift because you hear the songs, but I was getting educated, man. It was great. I was just hanging out, and everyone's so nice there, and welcoming, and good. Everybody can play. Everybody can sing. The songs are good. So it was like a trip.
So how did the Sugarland thing come about? Obviously, you're not a country act,
Yeah.
but the song is doing well on country radio.
So I became friends with Christian and Jennifer because they did a cover of my song "Come On Get Higher."
Yeah.
So they covered it, and then they called me and were like, "Hey, we love your song. We'd love to hang out. You know, you wanna?" So I went on tour with them, and then we became very close friends. And then I was like, "We should write." They were like, "Let's write." So we wrote, and then it was like, "We should do this as a duet." Oh yeah, it'd be great. Jennifer, you sing. Christian plays guitars on it, and then we did it. It was this really sort of natural unfolding. And then all of a sudden, it was one of those things where we recorded it, and I didn't think it was going to be. It was kind of like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like fast forward 6 months, 7 months, and we're on the CMAs.
It's crazy.
It was bananas.
And the performance is so cool. I mean, there's the whole crowd out there, but it's kind of you two singing at each other.
Yeah.
It was a nice thing to see. It was really cool.
That's cool. For me, it was, I got to tell you, singing to Jennifer, never get nervous when you're singing into somebody like
She seems so nice.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
And we're just staring at each other the whole time. It was sort of like a really, you'd think any other situation like that I might have been freaked out that there was all these people watching but it was just like hanging out with friends. It was cool.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about, I'm a huge Conan O'Brien fan,
Oh.
and I know that you were on Conan, you performed faster. How was that cool? Are you a fan of his too?
I mean, he's the best.
Yeah, he's the best.
So we were on the first record we played, Car Crash, a couple of years ago. And then this time we went on his new show. He's great, man. He's from Boston. I grew up in Boston. So he's just a super sweet dude, and he loves music. And so we get to, every time we kind of hang out, talk about music, talk about Boston, catch up.
That's sweet.
A very, very good guy.
Another thing I noticed, I don't know if you did, I mean, it's your songs, but on TV, your songs are on a lot, especially with Come On, Get Higher and Now Faster, and you did a cover of Laid that was on the American Wedding soundtrack. So are you ever watching TV or a movie comes on and your song's in it and you're like, wow, I forgot I was in there.
Occasionally they'll be like, I'll be watching like an old NCIS or something like on or you know.
I didn't even see that there.
You'll be like, I'll flip through Dawson's Creek. Dawson's Creek I know for sure because I loved that show. So when it
Dawson's
happens,
Creek?
Oh my god, I love that show.
Really?
So you'll watch like old TBS on the TBS episodes, or I'll hear Laid or Scrubs. So it's fun. It's cool because I never caught them when they happened because I was always on tour.
Sure.
And so it'll be one of those things where I'll be watching and then all of a sudden I'll be like, dude, whoa, that's me. What? Somebody, you know, because it sounds like when you know the song so well and it's coming through a television set. Sort of very strange. You feel like someone left the radio on in the other room. Or something.
Sometimes, obviously, all the shows that I do aren't live, so I'm driving in the car, and sometimes I hear it, and I'm like, oh, wow, I forgot I said that. Very strange. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yes. It's a trip, I bet, for you to hear the things you say and be like, whoa. You know,
sometimes I wish I didn't say that.
Dude, like, I don't listen to my live shows because I talk so much. And every time someone will be like, "That you said that," and I'll be like, "I said that."
I've heard that in the interview that I heard that you did yesterday, too, that you are not a fan of not hearing yourself back or even listening to the song. Like if it comes on the radio, you switch it.
Yeah,
is that true?
That is 100%
really
true.
I find that odd because when you're performing and also when you're recording, aren't you listening to it constantly?
No, when you're making the record, you listen to it constantly. Once you've sort of signed off that the record's finished in your brain, I rarely revisit it. I might revisit at the first week after it's done. You might sort of be excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you kind of like put it down. And I just heard "Come On Get Higher" for the first time at the Whole Foods where I didn't like cringe. It came on in the Whole Foods in Manhattan, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of a fun experience. Like as opposed to normally where I'm like, got to get out of Whole Foods.
That's so. That must have been kind of a trip though, walking and then half listening and then half hearing your song come on. And you're like, oh, that's me.
It was fun. It was like the beat starts. It's like, you know, and I was like, oh man, wow, whoa, that sounds cool. Wow, and I start thinking like, wow. Jason McGurk played a great beat on that. And then I'm like, oh, listen how cool that bass. I've never heard how that bass is so fluid. You hear it in a different way as you get sort of away from it in your perspective.
See, I think where you and I differ was I'd be like, hey, that's me, everyone. This is me.
I just start
throw money
punching.
At me.
I'm like, hey, you like that guy? And then they're like, who? And I just like, you love him.
You're like, you love Matt Nathanson? And they're like, who?
Totally. I know. I'm like, you love Nate Matheson? He's the best.
Go to mattnathanson.com. Go to iTunes. The new album's fantastic. Definitely check it out. Faster's on the radio. Run is. And the new single's coming out soon, or has it come out yet?
The new single's Run, so it's out now.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's everywhere.
What do I have here? Room? I just listened to it.
Room at the End of the World.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, that's a song that went to a different format. But yeah, totally.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's... I guess I'm all over.
This dude's everywhere,
I'm exploding.
Man. He's at Whole Foods.
I'm like, if you have bad gas, right? And diarrhea, but you're holding it in, and then finally, when you sit down, you explode, but it's so glorious.
That's Matt Nathanson.